Hello, dear friends. This session is in continuation with my previous session. The conceptual analysis of learning difficulties in schools was focused in my previous session. However, this session will focus on the causes of learning difficulties. In fact, it is very hard to me to view about exact causes of learning difficulties. However, some of the researchers have stated some theories as to why learning difficulties develop. On the basis of those theories, the following causes that develop the learning difficulties are as follows. The first cause can be stated as organic causes, then second genetic cause, the third prenatal causes, followed by perinatal and postnatal. The next one is biochemical causes, followed by environmental causes and educational causes, lack of learning skills, lack of interest on the part of the children. These are the causes that develop the learning difficulties among the children. So let me to discuss in detail about each cause one after another. The first cause can be taken as organic cause. Organic cause refers to the minimal brain dysfunction. This dysfunction occurs in central nervous system, which consists of the brain and the spinal cord. The minimal brain dysfunctions occurs mainly due to three reasons. The first reason is cerebral hemorrhage because head injury due to high fever or accident. The second reason to occur the minimal brain dysfunction is inappropriate intrauterine environment. This will lead to premature birth, deficiencies of oxygen in the blood or tissues that we call it anoxia. The third one is that lead to the minimal brain dysfunction, that is physical trauma. So when child faces with this type of abnormality in the central nervous system, the child may be termed as child with learning difficulties. The second important cause is genetic cause. Different experts have viewed that learning difficulties tend to run in the families. Therefore, heredity may play a major role. It is also assumed that nearly 20% of our hyperactive children have one parent hyperactive. However, researchers are still debating whether learning difficulties are in fact genetic or children learn or model what their parents do in the family or other environment or other situation. The third cause that lead to learning difficulty is prenatal causes. The prenatal causes are those causes that occurs before the birth of the child. Some maternal factors are known to have negative effect on the fetus, such as use of drugs like cigarettes, heroin, taking unprescribed medicine during pregnancy, consumption of alcohol, and high fever or infection to the mother during pregnancies. These are the prenatal cause, or the problem occurs to the mother, then it leads to the producing a baby with the learning difficulties. The third important cause is perinatal cause. It refers to those causes that occurs at birth or very shortly after birth. Some of the complications are during perinatal stage, is complication during pregnancy or birth. In this duration, Child experience the lack of oxygen, otherwise known as anoxia, delayed cried at birth, burn with excessive coil in the baby's neck, injury to the brain as the child passes through the birth canal, particularly if birth canal of the mother being too narrow due to young age or other factors. The third one is due to breech delivery, meaning that the child presents itself with the bottom or leg first instead of head. The fourth characteristics that occurs during perinatal stage, that is child's head or shoulder being too big. As a result, it cannot pass through the mother's birth canal easily or readily. Delivery of the baby using specially designed instruments like a vacuum suction. These instruments can cause to the head injury if not handled properly or well or correctly. The next cause is postnatal cause, and sometimes we call it is acquired cause. This postnatal cause refers to those causes that occurs very long after birth. For example, accident, trauma to the brain. This may cause to the learning difficulties. Consuming certain dangerous substances, late pain, which can cause to the brain damage, also lead to the learning difficulties among the children. Childhood illness such as brain fever, severe jaundice, typhoid can cause to the learning difficulties as well. So these are the postnatal causes that leads to the learning difficulties among children. The next important biochemical cause. Biochemical causes happens when certain food additivities came up with the child, like food allergies, nutritional deficiency, cause to learning problems. Similarly, hypoglycemia, meaning that low blood sugar, also cause to the learning difficulties. These are coming under the biochemical causes that lead to the learning difficulties. The next important cause is developmental causes. Developmental causes refers to the delay in the development of certain central nervous system components. The left side of the brain, which meant for the speech and language development, might be injured. There may be a fewer brain cell of the brain. Size of the brain cell may be small. This indicates to the developmental cause. The next cause is educational cause. Educational cause viewed as that learning difficulties may occur due to the poor or inadequate instruction. This means that cause does not lie in the child but due to poor teaching. Child is not the problem per se, rather instruction is a problem. Meaning that the poor instruction, poor teaching, poor pedagogical strategies may be the problem for the child that lead to the learning difficulties. Unlike educational causes, the lack of learning skills also lead to the learning difficulties among the children. It is obvious that different children have certain different learning skills or styles. For example, while learning a list of words, child might use the strategy of learning those words together start with the same letter. For example, bull, bell, black, baby. These words are starting with the same letter B. Initial letter is B. So child may easily learn the words which begins with the same letter. Similarly, another example can be calf, cat, cat, can, and so on. So, but the children have the learning difficulties lacks these types of skills. Last but not least, the cause is lack of interest on the part of the children. Usually, a child does not experience learning difficulties during the initial days of schooling. However, because of repeated failure, repeated misconception about a particular phenomena or the concept, most of the children with learning difficulties lose their motivation or the interest and start to avoid the hard task or the learning task which is difficult for them. These are the some of the causes that we discussed. Thank you very much for listening.